We'll wait about 30 more seconds and we'll get rolling here. Well, I'm with you. I like to go biking, but I don't like to go like cycling, how people get on a bike and then just like go like, I don't know, 10, 50 miles or whatever. I like biking to places. Like I like going to different restaurants, maybe biking to work, biking to a park. That's probably my favorite outdoor activity right now. Putting my daughter on the back seat and just going to several different playgrounds around. The trails here are awesome. Social biking, there you go. Trails are awesome around here, so love to do that. All right. Well, let's get started here with our information. So close out here, right there. Okay, awesome. Well, take it outside. That's what we'll be doing today. Thank you for joining me and the Total Wellbeing staff for today's webinar on taking it outside. Today we'll be talking about the benefits of going outdoors, ideas and strategies for getting outside, and action steps to help you get into nature on a more consistent basis to really reap those benefits, uh, to take full advantage of the warm seasons coming up here. So today's webinar, as we have discussed, is being recorded, and it's going to be emailed, I believe, or you'll have access to the recording as well as the slide deck. So we will be uploading that into our YouTube channel in our Viva Engage community. And when it comes to our webinars, we want to make sure that you have the space to ask us questions and interact as much throughout the presentation. So if anything comes up, be sure to post in the chat or ask in any sort of way, and we will get around to answering that question. And if we don't have time, we will send you a direct answer afterwards as we have all those comments. So, growing body of research evidence points to the numerous benefits of being outdoors. Studies indicate that prioritizing going outdoors and being in nature enhances emotional, mental, physical, and social well-being. So let's dive into several of the specific benefits of why we should go outdoors, and as well as a little bit more of what's happening on a physiological level. So benefits, why should I go outdoors? Well, first and foremost, it relieves stress and helps calm the mind. High levels of stress are associated with depression, obesity, and high blood pressure. A natural stress reliever can just be going out into your backyard. Taking it outside has a calming effect on the mind and can help regulate overall outlook and mood. Studies show that simply sitting outside helps reduce blood pressure, lower heart rate, and I'm going to have it, keyword here, decrease cortisol levels. Okay, cortisol, remember that word. Also, kind of goes into the next point here, number 2, improved emotional well-being. Being away from the constant bombardment of screens, phones, roadways, and whatnot can help lower your cortisol levels, which again can create a better self-esteem and much more optimistic mindset. Sunlight can help ease depression symptoms like low mood and fatigue from what many experts could believe from the increased production of another keyword, vitamin D. Okay? So cortisol and vitamin D. We just have that in the back of your mind as we're going through this. And then number 3, sharpen your focus. Giving yourself time away from all the distractions can keep your mental energy stores elevated. Studies have shown that attention is almost uniformly enhanced by exposure to a natural environment. Office workers who had either easy to access outdoors or view of nature have been shown to have increased productivity, concentration, and overall less stress. So what's that stress hormone again? It's cortisol. So less cortisol running through our veins constantly. Creative problem solving and cognitive function can be boosted by nearly 50% after spending several days exploring outdoors, said one study. Enhanced short-term memory kind of goes with that sharpening your focus. Once again, time away from distraction gives you more mind space, helping your short-term memory stores. The U of M, and not University of Minnesota for the Minnesotans here, but University of Michigan for students that spent more time outdoors, scored higher on memory tests than students that did not. This probably isn't a surprise by now. It is less as we eliminate more unnecessary stress in our lives, we help eliminate that monkey mind, juggling thoughts, different problems, whatever, everything we're experiencing in our mind. If we can eliminate more decision making with that, we can have less stress in our lives. Some more physical benefits to being outside is improved vision. A 2020 study showed a 22% decrease in the likelihood of nearsightedness in individuals who had more exposure to sunlight. Various reasons could be from increased dopamine levels, which can help improve vision, giving your eyes more practice by looking at various objects at various different distances. And the natural light, the natural light offers a brighter and richer collection of light wavelengths to see with. That was a tongue twister for me. So sleeping better as well. More exposure to sunlight can help your body set its natural circadian rhythm, making yourself more tired at night, shortening the time it takes to fall asleep, and improving the quality of your rest. As well as breathing better. When we are outside, studies have shown that our breathing is actually better. There's various different reasons why this could be caused. Less cortisol in the blood makes you take deeper inhalations. This brings many positive psychological or physiological and psychological changes that we have already addressed. And also, studies have found that indoor concentrations of air pollutants are often 2 to 5 times higher than outdoor concentrations, which kind of shocked me when I read that. And I feel like we could do more than a couple studies that I looked on it and really got a better understanding of that. But nonetheless, that is one of the benefits for now. Strengthening your immunity overall, increased white blood cell count, as well as lowering inflammation. Increasing white blood cell count and lowering inflammation are both signs of higher vitamin D and lower cortisol. Just to put that into perspective, it helps lower your body's fight and flight response. As well as that, I can think of more of a causation factor of what is a benefit of it is weight management. Greater motivation to exercise. Studies have shown that people have a greater motivation when the warmer weather comes out to get out and exercise, as well as a lot of outdoor activities just require us to move more. Another thing that we will touch on later in the presentation is also gardening. Gardening helps us eat more fruits and vegetables throughout the summer. And when you're gardening, it's not a sedentary by any means activity. You are bending over, you are working as you are tending to the garden. And then with all of these positive health benefits that we've mentioned, longevity can be something to be addressed, right? With all these positive things, studies have shown that you can increase your longevity by more outdoor exposure. Individuals living near parks, lawns, trees, forests had a significantly lower mortality rate than people living away from nature. So whatever the exact cause, getting outdoors will aid in helping live a happier and longer life. So, kind of going back here, when we were mentioning cortisol and increasing vitamin D, there could be a lot of different reasons why these being exposed to the outdoors is affecting our mood, affecting our immunity, and whatnot. But something we do know that is happening when we are outside is we are lowering our cortisol levels and we are increasing our vitamin D. Right here on this slide, we have some of the things mentioned of when we have lower cortisol levels in our bloodstream. You can see that those benefits right there are very similar to the ones that are when we're outside more often. Same with the vitamin D. Increasing your vitamin D, being more exposed to sunlight. These are some benefits to increasing your vitamin D as well. So you can see that there's a strong correlation between lowering your cortisol and increasing your vitamin D and what is exactly happening when we are outside. If you want to kind of go over some of those bullet points when you have access to the slides, be my guest, as well as some of the benefits, some of the sources that I looked into, as well as I've added some more, as it is pretty interesting to read through some of those sources. So if you want to nerd out like I got to, feel free to do that as well. But thank you so much for listening for the benefits. I'm going to turn the mic over to, who am I turning the mic over to? Jimmy. All right, Jimmy. And he's going to go over some of our strategies as well as how to kind of better implement this into our lives.
All right. Thank you, Isaac, for that. I'm even learning some things today that I didn't even know here, So, all right. So what I'm going to be basically going over is I'm going to be going over the physical benefits and the mental well-being benefits actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you some examples. All right, so Isaac has went over all the benefits here. I'm going to give you examples of what you can do for physical benefits and mental benefits when you go outside here. All right, so supporting your well-being, ideas and strategies to improve the 4 pillars of well-being here. So how about we take a look at those 4 pillars here. You can go ahead with the next slide here, Isaac. There you go. Perfect. All right. So physical well-being. So caring for, respecting, and advocating for your body. So like I said, I'm going to be going over some examples of what we can do once we get outside here, So one of the main things about getting outside is just kind of takes us away from the mundane things that we actually have to do indoors as well here. So all right, so the first example I'm going to be using here is getting your hands dirty. So what I'm talking about here is mainly like lawn care and gardening. These are 2 easy ways to get ourselves outside to be able to get moving, yet also burn calories. So you can almost think of this work as you're doing as a workout here. So some examples like you would do for gardening, digging. Like even when you're trying to dig for a garden, it's one of the highest intensity garden activities that you can do because it engages multiple muscle groups and it kind of really kicks your metabolism into another gear because of all the bending in the back that you're having to use, and then the core, and then the upper body and shoulders. So the more muscles you incorporate, the more calories you're thinking about burning here. So think of it like this here. So you're actually getting some work done in your garden, but you're actually doing something very good for your body as well. So 2 birds with 1 stone here. So think of it along those lines. So the same thing can actually be said for when you're mowing the yard as well. Using a traditional push mower, it requires you to use your legs and your upper body strength and your core while you're doing this yard work as well. Plus, if you have any type of hills in your yard, it just kind of ups the intensity even more of your work or workout. Furthermore, burning more calories. So what's really cool is if you have like a partner to help you with your lawn work, that you two could almost turn it into like a circuit workout to where you could kind of trade off and do different things. That way it's a little mentally easier to do the work, but then also you're still getting the workout part of the work as well here. So also something else with yard work is like when you go to start trimming your shrubs, you could use like a manual clipper or shears, which gives you some like upper body resistance, as opposed to using anything that plugs in here. So once again, give you some resistance training along with some cardio burning here, right? So, and then as Isaac had said, fruits and vegetables, picking fruits and vegetables out of your garden here, you can almost think of that as, the low hanging fruit. You could almost kind of use that as flexibility, stretching here type, but once again, still burning a lot of calories, bending down, picking the fruit up, putting it in the basket and everything. So the main thing here is just keeping that body moving, and getting outdoors is, like I said, it just really wants you or encourages you to do all of that here. So, all right. So the next example here is we're going to be taking the workout outside here. So what this does, allows you to do something totally different with your workout than you're normally used to doing. So this is something that I always try to encourage, and everybody that comes in here is try to shock the body into doing something different here. One, mentally, it's easier because you don't burn yourself out just doing the same thing day after day or week after week here. You always want to try to make sure you do something different. One, it stimulates the body differently, but two, I think it helps mentally as well here. So, okay, so some of the things that we can do when we are going outside or taking the workout outside is running the stairs here. So we have 7 flights of stairs at the end of our garage here. And what I like to do is take the people outside on pretty days and run the stairs. They actually enjoy it. I'm gonna use enjoy is not really the word I would maybe use here, but they do like going outside and getting outside here. So, but running the stairs is actually a very intense workout, but it takes less than a minute to do, but it builds strength in your legs that no other exercise does. But it also helps build your anaerobic cardiovascular system here. So when we're walking and when we're jogging, we're working on the aerobic side. Something like running stairs, that's the HIIT, that's the high intensity interval training. That's going to hit like the anaerobic stage here, So it's kind of like if you were spinning, how if you ever do like a spin class where your legs burn, well, that burn never really goes away the more spin class you do, but you're able to tolerate it better the more classes that you take here. So, okay. So another one that we can do, another type of workout that we can go outside is if you're working out with others and you take them outside as well, you can maybe run some relay races. I wouldn't say straight up sprints, but if you want to, you can also do that as well. But relay races is just another good way to shock the body into doing something that's not normally used to doing. But then you can also kind of make a game out of it as well here. So good way to, once again, shock the body. Okay, so another competition thing that we could do here, if you're doing relay races, you could also do like the old Mayday games that we used to play, like a 3-legged race or a wheelbarrow race or things along those lines as well. Once again, just using the body in different ways than it's not normally being used. And then I'd also try to have fun with it with others as well here. So one more thing about taking the workout outside here is if you want something just a little more organized, it's real easy. Like maybe join a kickball league or a softball league or a soccer league, so it's just a great way to keep it organized and also have fun with your friends as well here. So, all right. Okay. Next example here is unplugging from distractions. Hang on one second here. We're just going to get my notes here. I apologize. Okay. All right. So unplugging from distractions here. What we're talking about is camping here. All right. So camping, Some of the great benefits of camping is unplugging and getting away from screens while connecting to nature right there. As Isaac said in the beginning here, once you unplug from all your screens, what happens here? Well, your anxiety goes down, and probably so does your blood pressure as well here. So just a good way to start relaxing right off the bat here. But the physical demands of backpacking and setting up your tents and making camp, hiking, fishing, exploring nature certainly counts as the physical benefits of exercise and well-being as well here. So now here's something that's really cool that I learned. I want to read this word for word here. But it said research has shown that the outdoor physical activity has been linked to a decrease in depressive thoughts. And here's the kicker right here. Sleeping under the stars can help promote our natural circadian rhythm, which is found in high quality sleep and health here. So you want to keep that heart beating in a perfect rhythm, sleep out underneath the stars here, so kind of takes the sting out of the Tempur mattresses here. You can have a good night's sleep under the stars instead of your mattress, and it's free. All right, so all right, here we go. The last physical benefit we're going to talk about here is just experimenting with nature walks right here. Walking is one of the easiest things that we can do to get outside and get moving here. So once the weather gets nice, this is actually a good opportunity to maybe try to find some hidden beauty spots in your local area, or maybe even try to tick off a route that you have always wanted to try. So just try to make instead of walking the same walkway route, maybe try something a little different here, So, and then also maybe take your family with you, and maybe your kids can start to identify like all the wildlife and all the flowers, all the plants that you see along the way, and you can take pictures as you go, so you can look them up online later here. So those are all the physical benefits or examples that you can do, just some of them anyway. There's probably more that you can do when you get outside. All right, so we are going to move on to mental well-being as well here. So more examples here. All right, so mental well-being here, experiencing the peace of mind, contentment, happiness, and joy, and purpose, key word there, purpose and meaning here. All right, so we're going to give you some examples as well here. So when we're thinking of mental exercise, we're thinking of like a mindful, or excuse me, we're thinking of a mindful exercise here. All right, so the definition of being mindful is just the awareness of one's internal state and surroundings here. So it's almost like when somebody says just stop and smell the roses here, that's what it kind of means, is being mindful here. It's just, hey, just kind of be in the present moment here, as opposed to like always trying to think ahead here. So the next time you're out walking, you might want to try focusing on the feeling of your body while it's moving. What does it feel like here? You might notice the breeze against your skin, the feeling of your feet or your hands against the different textures of the ground or nearby surfaces, or maybe even the smells around you here. So just try to really get in tune with all of those senses here when you're doing walking. Now, this also but it also applies to anything that you're doing outside. Maybe say you were doing a yoga class outside, or even meditating here. You're just really trying to activate those senses and just really try to just enjoy the moment when you're there. All right, so mindful exercises here. All right. Also, another thing that we could do is maybe take up a new hobby here. So hobbies allow you to get away from the everyday ruts of our life and truly immerse yourself into something that you really enjoy doing here. So some hobbies you can try, maybe learning a new language, maybe reading a classic book, making jewelry, or maybe even try kayaking here. So, but also think about this, like when you're doing something that you really enjoy, you once again, the stress levels tend to go away here, so always make sure you make time for yourself and do something that you enjoy doing here. So, all right. Okay. Another thing that we can do here is volunteering your time. Nothing improves your mental wellness like doing something nice for another person. Get involved in a local charity where you can use your skills and compassionate nature to help others. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this video where this guy dresses up as Batman and he drives a Lamborghini. But what he does is he goes around and he goes to hospitals, children's hospitals, kids that have cancer and things like that. And you just ought to see their eyes light up when they see Batman come in. But when you interview this guy, you can just see how fulfilled he is, and almost like he has actually found his purpose in life. And it has made such an impact on him that he wound up selling his business, and he winds up doing this full time here. So, but just you can actually look that video up online as well here. What was funny though is one time the cops had actually pulled him over in his Lamborghini, and we're going to give him a ticket, but he's dressed up as Batman here, so. But they wound up taking pictures with him instead and let him go on his way here, So anyway, volunteering your time here, very rewarding to give to others here, all right? And then the last thing right here is just seeing your friends face to face here. We can always talk or we can always text them or anything, but it's just not really as beneficial as if you actually go to see them in person here. So you want to make sure you just nurture your relationships, take time for one another. And since the theme is also taking it outside, go out to eat and ask for a patio table right here. So that way you guys can enjoy nature and you can catch up on old times while you're seeing old friends here. So they don't even have to be old friends. They can be young friends as well. So, all right. So anyway, those are some examples of mental well-being. All right. And now I am going to pass it on to Carolyn.
Thanks so much, Jimmy, for getting us rolling on the pillars of well-being. I'm going to continue the conversation, and I'm going to talk about first our third pillar, social well-being. And social well-being is building and maintaining healthy relationships and having meaningful, authentic interactions with others. So just like Jimmy was talking about, right, that face-to-face time is really so important. But here's some other things that we can do because we are social creatures and we do need each other. It says the limbic system is responsible for our desire to be with others. So it's not just, oh yeah, I kind of want to do that. It's actually a physiological thing. It's the limbic system in the brain that's telling us, hey, we want you to be around others. You need to feel connected to other people. It generates feelings of safety. It generates feelings of happiness. When you're with your group, your troop, your gang, whatever you want to call them, right? So make sure that you are getting out and doing that. But what are some ways that you can improve your social well-being? Maybe you don't have that social connection group quite yet. So get out and make new connections. Maybe you have a new colleague. Maybe you have a new neighbor, right? Or maybe you join, like Jimmy said, some charity groups or different, like a hiking club to get out and work on your physical well-being. There's so many different ways to meet new people and get outside and do some fun things together. So really connect with someone new, show your interest and curiosity so you get to know about them, what they like, what makes them tick. And then you can connect what you enjoy with what they enjoy, and you both get to prosper in that relationship. Also, take care of yourself is really important when we talk about social well-being. We don't want to just think about always caring for others, because when we don't take care of ourselves, we don't bring our best self forward, right? As they always say when you're flying on the airplane, right? Make sure you put your own oxygen mask on first before you help someone else with theirs. So when we invest in our own self, we become better friends, we become better partners, better colleagues, better parents. So make sure you're balancing the amount of time you spend by yourself and also time with others. Okay? We all need time to recharge. And if you're an introvert, you probably need even more time to recharge. So think about your own balance. Everybody's balance is different, but make sure you're doing both of those things, taking care of yourself and being with others, because we do need to have that connection. All Right? How else can you do it? You can get active, right? Get active with a friend or a family member. Maybe you invite a friend on a dog walk. And I know if I have a dog and I've met many people because of my dog, right? So you're out and you're just, the dogs want to come together and they want to do their own little social connection. And you meet a lot of people that way. Or maybe you go to a dog park and you meet people that way. Or you have a friend who also likes to run if you like to run, and you set goals together. And that's really fun to kind of get that activity together. Maybe as Jimmy said, you're in a fun neighborhood and you play, some of those fun games. I mean, that really brought me back. I really enjoyed the, three-legged race and the relay races. And we did that in our neighborhood when I was growing up all the time. We were fortunate at my home. We had a softball field in the backyard and we had a basketball court in the driveway. So all the neighborhood came over to our house and we played softball and basketball. And then we played kick the can and Captain May I at night. I mean, we're outside all the time and just had a blast doing all of those things, being active. And then look into trying maybe something new with one of your friends also. Maybe it's forest bathing or going to an outdoor festival or outdoor concert, or now you can go and watch outdoor movie, go to a funny movie. I mean, nothing bonds better than laughing with one of your friends or colleagues. Bond with kids. I mean, kids know how to have fun, right? Kids are social creatures. They love to play. They love to have adventures. They're curious. They love to learn new things, so bond with them through outdoor activities, through nature hikes. And that's not just going to help them, but it's also going to help you to stay creative and explore. And then shape your family's health habits, right? So think about how you can develop a regular routine and some family traditions that really focus on health, right? So maybe you have weekly game night right now. Maybe you could add to that like a Saturday morning nature hike or a Friday night swimming party or whatever that looks like. Or maybe it's playing, a dance party, in your living room, right? So just think about how can you incorporate some of these fun health habits into your family's daily life. And that's just going to help you improve your social well-being. All right, so on to our last pillar, which is emotional well-being. So now Jimmy discussed mental well-being, and emotional well-being and mental well-being sometimes get intertwined, right? But with mental well-being that Jimmy discussed, that's really focusing on what is finding your purpose, finding your meaning, right? Emotional well-being is successfully handling life's stresses and adapting to change and to difficult times. So you can see taking care of your emotional well-being really matters, right? When we're emotionally healthy, we can manage the very elements of our life and work with a range of emotions without really, losing control. We can bounce back a little bit better, and that word is resilience, right? When we bounce back, we have that resilience, so we're able to do so. So we think of resilience like a muscle. It flexes and it develops, right? The more that you use it. So resilience impacts how you face challenges and how you think about the challenges you face on a daily basis, right? Emotional well-being really allows you to focus on the positive, manage the negative emotions, as you may have those in any given situation. So your resilience grows when you recognize the emotions that trigger you, and then you express them in a constructive manner to yourself and others. So how do we go about making that happen and improving emotional well-being and building up our resilience muscle? So first, we tune into all our senses, right? So it's important to take some quiet time to reflect. Using all your senses can be a real boost to your mental health, especially when you are in natural surroundings. So whether you're relaxing in the garden or if you're on your way to work, try listening out for birdsong or butterflies, or notice the movement of the clouds. And Kelly will go into this tuning into your senses in a little bit when she talks about action steps that you can take. So when we do take the time, though, to focus and reflect, it provides us with emotional regulation, which is a big word to say the ability to tune into our emotions and know how to best manage them. The next thing is really focusing on deep breathing. So taking in deep breaths has been shown to alleviate stress. So when you slow your breathing down, so we talk about either the box breathing or the 4-7-8 breathing, which is, breathing, inhaling for 4, holding, and then exhaling, right? So when we trick our brain into thinking, hey, we're slowing our breathing down, we're going to trick our brain into thinking that we are actually in a calm state, even though we may be feeling anxious, we may be feeling a little bit stressed, right? So that's a great way to actually feel like we're in that calm state. And also when we add fresh air, it kind of takes it up a notch, because breathing in fresh air can clean out your lungs. Fresh air makes you feel happy because it garners peacefulness. And fresh air creates focus, which Isaac had mentioned early on is one of the benefits of taking it outside, is that it creates, improves your focus. And it also gives you energy, because it just feels uplifting when we're taking in those fresh air deep breaths. Emotional well-being is also meditating and connecting with self. So we talked about reflecting and kind of tuning into those senses, but meditating and connecting with self, when we do that, it provides a respite from the constant stimulation of modern life. And it gives us a chance to disconnect, which Jimmy talked about, right? When we unplug from those distractions. So when we spend time really meditating, connecting with self, or spending time out in nature, it gives us the opportunity to slow down and remember what's important, prioritizing our lives, right? So we quiet our mind with nature, and it opens our heart, and then it invites ease into our bodies. Last but not least, to improve that emotional well-being, to build that resilience muscle, we appreciate our surroundings, or be grateful, right? So we immerse ourselves in natural surroundings, or we immerse ourselves in positivity, which means we can hang out with positive people, right? Or we can continue to really let our thoughts stay in that positive format and not ruminate on those negative things. That's immersing ourselves in positivity and appreciating our surroundings, right? And when we do that, we take notice of the beauty, we take notice of the ease at which we can relation with other people when we are grateful and appreciate our surroundings and people that are in our lives. I'll now turn it over to Kelly, and she's going to share more about the how we can put these pillars of well-being into action.
Excellent. Thank you, Carolyn. So great to hear from my fantastic team. I always really gain some insight and new perspectives from the entire team. So I really appreciate the clarifying information, specifically on the mental versus emotional well-being. I know I have to be conscious of thinking of them as separate yet connected entities. So the slides really help show how to improve upon the 4 pillars of well-being. And I've been out here for the last hour, and so I am so happy and refocused and energized. Seriously, though, I am more focused. So I think when I'm inside, I'm like, oh, I need to clean and do things and get distracted. So that I do really notice, although now I'm seeing weeds that I should be pulling, but I decided I would try this outside today. Anyhow, so now that we have a strong base on supporting our well-being, I'm going to delve into some of the ways to make outdoors more appealing for all activities. And as with anything, we want to start small and practice often, or put another way, it's action plus consistency equals results. You get that with exercise, with nutrition, and with any habit that you're going to do. So I'm about to get into how to get started. Like, how do we get outdoors? Maybe you're already an outdoor person, or maybe you just prefer the indoors, have allergies. There's so many things to take into effect, climate. So starting out, just taking short, just frequent breaks outdoors will really help build those habits. One way is to start taking a brief moment every morning before you start your work even if it's just one deep breath going outside. It will help you recharge, refocus, redirect too. Anytime you may have some anxiety or stress, like Carolyn said, just go out, take one deep breath outdoors, get that fresh air in, and do it the same at the end of the day, maybe after work or before bed, just to end your day. Another way is just stop relying on Alexa or your weather app to tell you the current temperature. Step outside, see how it feels. So next time you say, Alexa, what's the weather today? Maybe that'll be your cue to just step outside, take a deep breath, and then you can see how the rest of the day is going to be. Another way is to plan ahead. As with anything, planning ahead really makes a big difference. Scheduling just a 5-minute break into your day, or just make a certain day a picnic day with your family or dinner. You could do lunch with coworker every Wednesday. So just setting a specific day or time to have that outdoor connection, and maybe it's just a meal outside. Maybe you want to plan ahead like I did today and planned to see where the sun was going to be at noon, my time here, and where the shade and practice. And so that is another way to plan ahead. And as Carolyn and Jimmy have touched on, it's including others. So including others really holds you accountable, and it really fills that social wellness bucket. It could be through work, holding meetings outdoors or playing games, even if you're with your family, playing outdoor, like playing board games. It doesn't have to be active. Not everything outdoors has to be active to receive the benefits we discussed earlier. I know I go for walks every evening with my neighbor friend, and we solve all the world's problems within, sometimes it's anywhere from a 10-minute to hour walk, depending on the day. But really, it's just a nice way to just decompress, connect with others, get some fresh air, get activity, and fill all those buckets. Then also get creative. Uh, some things that you could do inside, bring it outside. I have taken my laundry and I have folded outside. Typically, that'll be on a really nice March or April day that we've had a horrible winter, and I've just been craving to get outside. Another thing is like setting up even just a chopping board on your garden bench to prep dinner. So I know a lot of times people don't like all the time it takes to be in the kitchen. So maybe there's some certain things you could do outside. And just think of a typical indoor activity and a way to bring it outside. So if anyone has, feel free to share something unique that you've done or you want to do or you think of as we go along in the chat. You know, you can't force creativity on the spot. So if you think of something along the way, feel free to share and we'll review it at the end and kind of discuss it. Just really learn from one another and so want to be open to new experiences. So I appreciate just if anybody has some other ideas that they could share with everybody else. So this now brings us to creating an outdoor friendly space specific to your needs and your interests. So taking your indoor activities outside. So you do not need to spend a lot of money to make your outdoor space more welcoming. And you want to consider climate, the purpose, the amount of space you have, as well as maintenance. So if you live in a cold climate, your patio might be primarily for spring to fall use, at least for now. But if you think back to the pandemic and how many bonfires we had, like in the winter, I don't know if you're like me, but I think one of our first Christmases after the pandemic, we were at my brother and sister-in-law's house around a bonfire. And so, you know, like when there's a will, there's a way, and there's just no bad weather. It's the clothing. So just wear appropriate clothing, plan ahead, blankets, all of that. You also have to take like bugs, heat, clothing, as I said, into consideration. I was thinking of like Jimmy said, sleeping under the stars. I'm like, okay, well, you can't do that when it's August and there's bugs, but just taking that into consideration. And you may want to plan ahead with the citronella tiki torches, repel bugs, or if you're in a sunny spot, get a big umbrella for shade. Keep that bug spray, sunscreen conveniently located to your outdoor space, or perhaps it's boots, old sweatshirts, and blankets if it's a cooler area. So I know it really depends on the season, climate, and the weather. And then consider the purpose for your space. Is it to just sit and read or meditate, maybe do a little bit of yoga? Perhaps you want to entertain and more like music and have people over. So it all just kind of depends on what you want to use that space for. So make that space inviting for your main purpose. Are you going to be adding plants? Are you adding speakers and music? Do you need extension cords? So lights. Really kind of figure out first the purpose of the space before just going and getting into creating more of that space. Also, your outdoor space does not have to be large, and it could be a green space near your work or your residence. So you don't want to limit your regular outdoor time just to one space. Really be flexible with the outdoors wherever you are, wherever you go. It's not just at home that you need to go outside. Outside during work, give those eyes a break, help that vision, like said before, get outside, look around. And also maintenance of that outdoor space is often overlooked, but creating a low maintenance space will increase the likelihood of more frequent use. So no one wants to add more cleaning, weeding, drying off a large area before enjoying their outdoor time. So really trying to make it simple, easy, and always add what you are missing later on. So start small, you can add big. And this brings us to the next topic of making your outdoors time meaningful. And this has been touched upon a couple times throughout, and it's just being mindful and purposeful when outdoors. And this just leads to all the greater benefits. So use your senses. You can look for a specific color or an item, listen to your breath, the surrounding noises, feel the warmth of the sun or the coolness of the breeze. You could take it deeper and actually feel objects like smooth rocks or rough twigs. Just like they say, take time to stop and smell the roses, but at least they are around you. You don't have to be stopping all the time, but just become aware. You can tune into all of your senses even as you walk briskly with others. Like when I'm with my friend, I might be looking for a color, but I'm not saying, hey, Sarah, let's look for purple, or, oh, look at that rough tree. I don't know that she would still walk with me if I was talking about all that, but every once in a while, I'll just be like in your head or just taking a deep breath, not telling her, let's take a deep breath together. It just depends on who you're friends with, who you're walking with, what you're doing. So it does not have to be a stop and forest bathe all the time or any of the time. It all is your preference. So becoming aware is key for all well-being dimensions. And this next slide is a resource page if you want to experiment with guided outdoor activities. So such as, first one is walking meditation. And this is 11-minute headspace walking meditation. You could listen as you take a quick walk when you need time to refocus. And then there is scavenger hunt. It doesn't just have to be for kids. It's just something fun you can enjoy at any age to give you purpose when you take it outside. And then lastly, there's a 25-minute guided forest therapy walk, or forest therapy, new word, that could be done anywhere. So I love the outdoors and the idea behind this, but personally, I still need to work my way up to that 25-minute video. I think for me, it's like yoga for me personally. It's so beneficial. I love when I do it, but I don't always prioritize my time for it. So if you or anyone else has had success with the forest therapy or forest bathing resources, I'm always open to trying new things. So feel free to share that. I would love to see how many people do forest bathing or have had success and if they've noticed any differences. And with that, I hope you will try something new, either from this webinar or from an upcoming event and offering that Jill will now discuss.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you for those wonderful ideas. And thank you, Carolyn and Jimmy, for taking us through the 4 pillars of the wellness, mind and body and emotions, maybe a little spirit in there as well. And Isaac, for your introduction. So weekly live offerings, many of you have experienced or maybe soon to experience that we have shifted from Zoom to Teams. All of our offerings are now offered on Teams. Next slide, please. There is a link here. It says click here to join our total well-being team and specific offering channels. So we have a main channel, a general channel called Total Wellbeing. And then each one of the wellness centers, you can find your specific wellness center. You can sign up for those as well. And then each one of our offerings also has a team channels. So for example, posture breaks. You can go back a slide. Posture, positive posture breaks, fit breaks, guided meditations, flood breaks do all have their own separate channels. Feel free to email one of our team members for the link. Carolyn's going to post the team total wellbeing channels in the chat box so that you'll have that. But you also have a link here on the presentation. All right. We also offer virtual yoga classes, Nia virtual exercise class, which is like a cardio dance class, Flex and Refresh, which actually is going to start in about 10 minutes if you want to jump on, and chair yoga. So Kelly and Carolyn and Jimmy, Isaac, Kyle, and myself, we all offer these classes, or we each offer our own class. For example, Kelly does chair yoga, I do yoga, Flex and Refresh, Flex breaks, and fit breaks. But we have enjoyed meeting a lot of you already, and we're super excited about how many people are attending these sessions already. So really exciting. I kind of feel like the move from Zoom to Teams has sort of re-energized our program. And so we're so thankful for all of you that have made the transition. Next slide, please. And just a big thank you for joining us, for taking time out of your day to explore taking it outside. One of the things I would offer is that you can take your fitness practice, your virtual fitness practice outside. Take a phone, take your computer, maybe find a table or put it on the ground, and put a baseball cap on, some sunblock, of course, your favorite beverage, and enjoy exercising outside. I think that's also a great way to get some vitamin D and up your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual wellness, and enjoy having some time for yourself. If you'd like to, in the chat box, you can share one action item that you learned today. And then, as we said, as I mentioned, you can view all of our offerings on the Total Wellbeing General Teams. Teams channel. See, I'm still working with the Zoom and the Teams. Yeah. And the links are offered here. And when we send out this Zoom Teams recording, we'll also send out links to the Total Wellbeing channel. So appreciate it. Appreciate all of you. And any questions or comments or highlights, or I like to say snapshots of what you learned today, yeah, please throw that in the comment box. Can review just a little bit. Reading the chat box. I enjoy reading in my hammock outdoors. Going for a walk during meetings. If you're not presenting, put on your AirPods, take a nice walk, and enjoy the great outdoors. Yeah, great ideas for taking care. You are very welcome. I like the idea of using guided forest walk. I'm gonna do that one too, Kelly. Thank you for the link. Sleeping under the stars. Beautiful. All right. From all of us to all of you, take it outside, and thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.